I don't know what happened. It's like I played like so many games, and it's just like I'm too old at this point. It's like I had my runes. I've had them for like 5 years. Aftershock, Hexflash.
Hi everyone, this is Tom reporting from the LEC Summer Split, and with me here is promisq, the support player of Astralis, who did just win their first game of the split in a pretty chaotic fashion, I would say.
In a good way.
promisq, yeah, that was
Yeah,
quite mayhem, not the prettiest
yeah,
game of all. And
yeah,
there's
maybe
there's
not.
quite a few things to discuss about this game. But first of all, walking away from this game, how do you feel?
I mean, it feels good to at least get a win. I think that's the only positive thing about the game. I mean, it was like I feel like it was just like in general, both teams like playing a lot of. You could tell like there was a lot of nerfs, and
Mm.
for them it's more acceptable, I guess. I mean, it's always acceptable to have nerfs, especially when it's at the start of the season. I know all of these veteran players always have nerfs as well.
Mm.
It's just how it is, but yeah, they didn't really have much to lose, and we had a lot to lose. So I think that kind of played its part as well, because you don't want to lose that team that is like undergoing roster changes and then
Mm.
are forced to make even like roster swap just for the week. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad it's over. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about those nerfs a little bit more, it's interesting that you mention it. Obviously, as you said, there are healthy nerfs. Start of the competition, you want to prove yourself again. But as you said, you are a squad that stayed in the same formation, same lineup,
Yeah.
so there is that more familiarity. Was there any particular thing that caused the nerfs within the team then, or was it just that start of the split?
No, I think it's just in general we had our comp is kind of like on the scaling side of things, and then uh, yeah, the first couple of fights or the first couple of skirmishes rather didn't really go our way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not fun to also fall behind when you're looking to actually just kind of go even. But you know, it's just how the game works sometimes. You can't just like give up everything. Sometimes you have to take a fight, and it doesn't work out always. But yeah, for me individually, I felt like it was a hard game to play because our comp doesn't ever want to go in. We just want to play with our poke with Victor Estriel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Leona is it's not really the champ you want around that, because I can't even take a punch without dying myself because I
Mm-hmm.
just get hooked by Nautilus and I die. So it was a bit awkward to play the fight, and I think it showed as well. I whiffed like so many ultis that game. The rest going left and right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, I'm glad we progressed during the game. I felt we started talking about what doesn't work, what is working for us in the team fights, and
Mm-hmm.
then successfully we got our things going. And yeah, once we got 1 or 2 picks in a team fight, it was pretty straightforward. So I'm happy
Right.
about that.
Right. Well, it's good that you noticed that during the game you guys stabilized a bit more. There's something I want to talk about, and I think everybody would kill me if I didn't mention it. Earlier this week, the LEC announced that Hexflash would not be allowed to be picked during
Uh,
the games because of an existing bug. Yet
yeah,
when you loaded onto the Rift, we saw Defiant promisq walking around with Hexflash as one of his
yeah,
runes. What happened
yeah.
there?
I don't know what happened. It's like I played like so many games, and it's just like I'm too old at this point. It's like I had my runes. I've had them for like 5 years. Aftershock, Hexflash, and then it was just like, yeah, I was doing my runes, mobile tile. Like there's some talk in the background, you know, like discussion about level ones and stuff, and it's just like doing my runes.
Mm,
And then yeah, that happened, and then I mean I realized it in game after I used my flash, like at minute 5. But
yeah.
I tried to not mention it. I was just gonna try to let it slip, but I guess there's like a couple 100,000 people watching, so
Yeah, the timeline
it
flooded
was
with
very
screenshots. Yeah.
yeah, it was a bit optimistic to think that that was just gonna like fly under the radar, and then the
Mm,
referee at one point pointed it out as well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't like. What can I say? It happens, right? It's like it shouldn't happen because they even said it in Champ Select. Please don't choose Hexflash, and you know, he just had a game muted, I guess.
it's
But
completely
yeah, it
zoned
was a
out.
game like in my defense, it wasn't like I didn't actually use it in the game. Like, I
Mm,
think like maybe once in base to like get out of base faster while you're waiting for mana.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I knew that I wasn't gonna look for flanks with my Hex Flash and try to do some creative stuff. I just like, yeah, I fucked up and I won't use it, I guess. So
Right.
yeah,
Well,
don't think it gave us a competitive advantage, so to say, or whatever you,
mhm.
competitive integrity, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, eventually it might even give you a disadvantage because it takes away a slot that you could have used for something else. Obviously.
Yeah, there was a stopwatch, and as we saw later in the game, that stopwatch
Yeah.
it came to good use.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was another topic. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna mention it, but now you mentioned it yourself,
Yeah.
and then perfectly at your own Raptor camp without any enemies in the vicinity, you decided to turn golden for for a few
Yeah,
seconds.
like that's another thing. It's like another habit thing that before my stopwatch was a bit more meta. The thing is, I always put it on the binding where I usually have my ping cord. So it's another one of those things. I've done it like for 4 years now. You can legit open like you can make a compilation of me in competitive games just like using my stopwatch randomly because it's like I just constantly do it and I refuse to change my habits. So
all right, well,
let's go.
Yeah, at least it didn't hinder you enough to lose the game, but probably something to pay a bit more attention to in the coming games. Switching away from the game we saw today, I also do want to talk to you about the offseason. Obviously, you had 2 months to relax, to get your mind maybe off of the game and to spend time for yourself. How was it for you? What did you do? And what was the focus for you there?
I mean, there's a big elephant in the room right now that I don't think has to be, unmentioned or mentioned. But yeah, it was a hectic.
You're talking about the situation where somebody
a certain situation happened, which you don't have to like. If you don't know, you don't know, and if you do know, you do know.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a very a couple of rough days. Specifically, around the whole situation. It was a bit of a mental test, but I'm glad that my team had my support in a way. Obviously, what happened shouldn't happen, but at the end of the day, we're here again, and I'm happy to just be able to get a chance because it's very silly to lose your job over something like that. So, but overall, it was nice. It was, I mean, it was nice. I got to go back home to Sweden. I got corona after 6 days of being there, so
oh boy,
I was hard stuck in bed as well for 3 weeks. Just couldn't move. So I'm not sure how to say my off season was, but it happened. It was nice just be home and meet some friends. In Sweden, it's kind of like you can just meet your friends, go out for a beer, and catch corona, and then
Okay. Well, I fully understand. I do feel that I have an obligation to people who don't know. Like, just briefly mention a situation where it surfaced that you were not the nicest person in a game. Said some things that you shouldn't have said, and there was a bit of speculation what was going to happen. But as you said, the team had your back. And wanted you to stay on, I guess, because you're still here and you're still playing. So aside from that, you watched MSI, or did you just completely zone away from watching?
No. I'm like it's for me. It's kind of the opposite. The off season means playing the game even more, kind of, compared to the season, because it's just like it's so addictive and it's very hard to find time for something. I mean, it's not hard to find times, but it's just like you kind of dedicate your life to this. So it's like you come home, friends have works and studies to attend to, and people live their lives, and my life is playing video games, So I tend to just like sit and spam solo queue all day, like 15 games plus per day. So
50,
it's kind of the same.
50 games per day? Did you just say that?
15.
15. Okay.
15.
I don't think that's even possible,
if you open them fast enough, you can probably make 50. But
or if you play A-Rans, then sure.
Yeah, or A-Rans. Yeah.
15. Okay.
So I only belong on the Summoner's Rift. So
okay. Okay, well, it's good to hear that you found some time to do what you love most as well, playing League of Legends.
Yeah, I guess the question was if I watched MSI, and I played solo queue and watched MSI. I watched the LEC finals, which was hype as well. I caught up on everything.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. promisq, just a small expectations of you and for your team in this summer split. To round up the interview, obviously the squad stayed the same. Many people predicted Astralis to finish 10th in the spring split. Didn't happen. You guys finished 9th. So that's the smallest W you can get probably in the LEC. But for this split, what are your expectations? Do you think that it suits it's gonna serve you guys well that you stuck together? How do you feel your goals as well for the spring split for the summer split? Just talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of topics to touch there. Just like looking at the rosters, I feel like let's just go ahead and say at least four rosters made like swap players. Yes, on the top of my head, 4, maybe
Yep.
5 even. But
Yeah.
just like in conclusion, there's a lot of new changes for good and for bad, I think. But mostly for bad is how I feel it. Like for the respective teams. So that means it's good for us, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like as a whole, a lot of teams got weaker. But at the end, at the same time, it's like there's a certain amount of honeymoon effect there. Because if you play the spring split with a team that, for example, I'm just gonna assume SK, there was more outside of the game struggles. So that's why they had to make this absolute last minute swap, which they didn't really want to. So that wasn't like roster related in a way. It's just like personalities. So that might work out for them. But yeah, like for us, we felt like we're just building on something, and as long as we're going in the right direction, I think it's worth to keep going. Because yeah, we were not satisfied obviously with spring split, and we do know we can do better. So like I think we had as a goal playoffs. I think you have to, like, if you don't have playoff as a goal, then it's like very silly, you know, because that's just top 6.
Right.
So playoffs for sure is the goal, and if we don't make playoffs, it would be very disappointing for sure. And I do think there's no reason why we couldn't make top 6, even though today's game was not the prettiest. I know that, but
All right. Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to hear that you still have your goals on the playoffs, and I hope for you and for the Astralis fans, hopefully that's something that you guys are gonna be able to do. But as you said, today was just one game. Let's skip towards the next one.
Yeah, we are for sure. I feel like I've been happy with how we have come back from the break and how practice has been going in terms of what direction we're taking with the team. I feel like we're really trying to swap up a bit of our playstyle, try to engage a bit more like early game into it, because I feel like that was not really happening a lot. And yeah, I feel like so far I'm positive, even though it's not about us winning or losing scrims in that way. It's not like, yeah, we're winning 10% more of our scrims, so I think it's going well. It's more like we're willing to try more things and be more exploited in practice for the benefit of long term in a way. So I'm looking at it in a positive way, and I hope we can also implement it into the stage games, how we want to play early game. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. I'm looking forward to seeing how that is going to develop for Astralis over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for joining me, promisq, and best of luck in the rest of the split.
Thanks for having me, and bye-bye.